What is customer well-being? Both researchers and practitioners increasingly recognize well-being of customers when consuming products or services, or when having trust-based relationships with brands, as a highly desirable outcome for businesses. Indeed, consumer behavior theory provides evidence that cognitive, functional, and utilitarian benefits are not sufficient to explain consumer behavior and attitudes. Consumer well-being has been basically conceptualized as satisfaction received from the ownership of the combination of a set of products or consumer durables and other things like cars, furniture, cosmetics, iPhones, or computers. Thus, traditionally, consumer well-being has been defined as a satisfaction that the consumer gets from various consumer life cycles. From economics, consumer well-being thus relates to the satisfaction derived from the consumption of goods and services, that is, to the satisfaction of needs. But more recent research shows that consumer well-being goes beyond simple rational and cognitive product and service satisfaction that get ones from the acquisition of the product. The discussion over the definition of consumer well-being reveals that it is an open debate in the relevant literature, owing primarily to the multidimensional character of the concept and the delay in admitting the societal aspects of the phenomenon. The sphere of consumer well-being when consuming products or services, or when having trust-based relationships with brands, was thus broadened from single cognitive dimensions to multiple affective dimensions. More recently, in the domain of retail shopping, well-being is defined as a shopper's perceived impact of a shopping mall in contributing to satisfaction in important life domains, such as consumer life, social life, leisure life, or community life. This results in a global judgment that the mall contributes significantly to one's overall quality of life and to life satisfaction. That is, shopping well-being captures the emotional state of life satisfaction shoppers may experience related to the cumulative shopping experiences at a mall through 4 key life domains. That is, consumer life well-being, social life well-being, leisure life well-being, and community life well-being, with concepts like self-image congruence with shopping and brand community belongingness. Thus, we can see that well-being is a very broad concept, which not only includes financial growth or non-existence of illness, but also essentials of overall life satisfaction with affective factors such as happiness, physical fitness, psychological health, and aptitude to endure. The concept of well-being defines the degree to which consumers perceive consumption experiences as positive through cognitive judgments and affective reactions without reference to objective facts. Well-being created by brands can be linked to, first, physical health. That is, that brands protect the physical integrity and decrease environmental pressure and harm. Second, it relates to mental and psychological health. That is, the increase of self-acceptance, favoring good social relations and community belongings, the increase of autonomy and control, give a life purpose and personal growth, for example, through education and by decreasing cognitive dissonance. Third, well-being relates to positive moods and emotions and avoid negative emotions created through hedonism, joy, and pleasure. Fourth, well-being relates to quality and life. And fifth, well-being relates to economic aspects of consumption through fair price quality ratios and not pushing to overconsumption by creating not useful needs. As we can observe it a lot in all kinds of sectors, for example, when the different smartphone providers always give incentives or create needs that we need the further versions of the new smartphone, which are the antecedents of well-being. Well-being appears to be an important consequence of consumer choices, such as technology adoption, product or service usage, and brand-consumer relationships. The use of products or services, as well as trust-based relationships with brands, should thus positively impact economic, psychological, and physical health, and thus subsequently increase perceived well-being, but also quality of life. Antecedent factors of consumer well-being are personal values, social, cultural factors, brand and product-related factors, and service factors, as well as personal behavior factors. Let's have a look on individual consumer social, cultural factors, and value factors. Consumer well-being as a subjective feeling of individuals is influenced by their own orientated values. It is found that materialism has a negative impact on the improvement of consumers' well-being. Materialism refers to the persistent value system in which individuals perceive the importance of material and property. Highly materialistic consumers tend to overvalue property and consume, and so they are more unhappy. On the other hand, anti-consumption, an internal oriented value, can actively promote consumer well-being. Anti-consumerism is a kind of value that advocates stopping excessive consumption and returning to green and simple consumption mode. Anti-consumerism might enhance consumer perceived self-determination and self-realization by enhancing sense of control, reducing material desire, and returning to inner world, thus enhancing happiness. Second, social culture regulates the relationship between consumer experience and consumer well-being. Good interpersonal brand, B2C, but also C2C relationships, and social interaction in the process of consumption positively impacts happiness for consumers valuing group culture. For consumers of individual culture, they pay more attention to the number of product choices. More choices mean freedom and autonomy, and the consumers might feel happier. There are also service, relationship, and product-related factors. For example, service quality and brand relationships also affect consumer well-being, such as friendliness, empathy, speediness, reliability, and interpersonal interaction with the sales staff. In addition, product types or categories also affect consumer well-being. For example, it has been found in research that experiential, hedonic products are more conducive to interpersonal communication than material practical products, which lead to higher conversational value, thereby enhancing consumer well-being. On the other hand, customers adapt to hedonic products faster than to practical products, and regret for hedonic products is significantly higher than for practical products. Therefore, compared with hedonic products, practical products bring more long-lasting happiness or well-being to consumers. In addition to different product types of products, product anthropomorphization also affects consumer well-being. Product anthropomorphization refers to the process of endowing the uniqueness of human beings with products. The anthropomorphic products enhance consumer well-being by satisfying consumers' needs for social attribution. And some studies have pointed out the smiling face of anthropomorphic products that improve consumer well-being and attitudes towards products. This finding is particularly important also for new technologies, sales automation technologies such as chatbots or voice bots, which can increase the impact and empathy, reliability, and other service factor contributions through anthropomorphic devices and similarities. Brand capital. Brand factors also affect consumer well-being. An excellent brand can reduce pressure and risk and other adverse effects in the process of consumer experiences. Subsequently, also referrals and word of mouth have a significant impact on consumer well-being, decreasing perceived risk, and have a significant impact on consumer well-being. Brand community ownership positively affects consumer well-being. In addition, as a symbol of consumers' identity and taste, when consumers perceive that the brand is identical with themselves and their values, the brand will increase happiness and consumer well-being will rise. For customers with high loyalty, the effect is even more important. And finally, personal behavioral factors. In recent years, more recent studies have gradually found the important role of consumer behavior in changing cognition. Through goal system theory, it has been shown that the failure of goals can significantly reduce the motivation and happiness. According to the uses and gratification theory, products and services satisfy to cognitive but also respond to tension-free goals. For example, release health tensions, but also affective goals such as quality of life and well-being. Therefore, if brands help consumers to achieve these goals, they can increase well-being. The recent development of mHealth or mobile health applications or sports apps goes in this direction by fixing goals through consumer quantified selves and thus enables them to achieve individual goals. What are the consequences of consumer well-being in the marketing context? It is important to mention that consumer well-being created by a brand and trust-based customer-brand relationships positively impact brand loyalty and brand community belongingness. After consumers feel happy, they feel more loyal to the brand. Consumer loyalty refers to a series of positive attitudes towards the brand and behavior repeated purchases. When consumers experience well-being, they will like the brand better, the perceived value of the brand increases, and the perceived risk, thus psychological cost, decrease. So consumers will keep repeating purchases. Consumers' over-accumulated satisfaction with the brand will increase the trust into the brand, which will subsequently lead to higher customer well-being and subsequently to brand loyalty, customer engagement, and customer lifetime value. So in summary, overall, consumer well-being through brands can be created by granting economic, social, psychological, and physical health benefits that include social capital, include trust-based relationships with brands, brand community belongingness, self-image congruence, consumption patterns, leisure activities with brands, life skills, financial states. Consumer well-being focuses on the satisfaction, pleasure, and quality of life perceived by consumers through the consumption activities and brand relationships. The study of consumer well-being is considered as a prominent component that affects the quality of life. Due to its apparent contribution in quality of life, consumer well-being has caught very recently the attention and interest of various researchers in marketing, consumer behavior, economics, psychology, and the topic is being researched at the length. The study of consumer well-being and its impact on consumption patterns, such as brand loyalty, is recently emerging as a separate field of study called transformative marketing, transformative service research, or transformative consumer research. Well-being is the universal goal that human beings pursue, especially in the consumption area. Consumer well-being refers to an emotional and cognitive response that consumers generate in consumer experience, including three characteristics, which are cognitive consumer satisfaction, affective positive emotion, and perceived quality of life. It is important to mention that within the relationship marketing paradigm, customer well-being created by a brand and based on trust-based customer-brand relationships positively impact brand loyalty, brand community belongingness, and subsequently customer engagement, customer lifetime value, and customer equity.